Merry Christmas, everyone. I thought I'd comment on this week's pictures, and I want to thank you all for finding the time to actually make a picture. I was really impressed with that. So I got this up a little late. You haven't seen this one. You may have seen my favoriteest one, which would be a horse with a Santa hat and the little jingle bell that you will see in Trump's ear and Helen's pup. But anyways, I found this when I took it back down off the internet that it looks awfully dark, so it needs at least a little lightening up. Although it does give us a little too much here. The shadows are a little odd. I got busy, I got lazy, and I left the pixel squid shadows as they were and tried to match them a little bit. I had made them darker so they'd match the shadows in the snow. I probably should have put the sleigh over there by the tracks, but I didn't do it, and that's that. Okay. Next we'll look at Jim's Trump channeling the feminine side. I gotta say, Jim, I laughed right out loud on this one. It was so funny. I showed everybody in the room, and I came home and showed it to more people. And Brian, actually, he says, both of them look just like Trump. But anyways, technically, I think it's a pretty good, you've done a really good job. Right here along the hairline, it's a little wonky. I don't know if we could, by some chance, add another layer there and go over to a brush and choose a hairbrush. Now I use Nagel hairbrushes. You can get them free if you look for them like that. And I'm not going to think of his name. Anyways, there's a fella, creatureartteacher.com, Aaron Blaze. Anyways, I think he would do a fairly decent, he has some really nice brushes. So I just sampled this color, and I'm just going to, those should go in the proper direction. I want it to go in shape dynamics, control, direction, scattering, color dynamics, control. Well, I do have it on rotation. That's just weird. So I'm going to zoom in, make my brush smaller, and see if we can't well, let's see. I think I want to also sample this color. And remember, we're moving in the direction of the brush. And then I flip-flop the colors. Oh, much better. All right, now let's look at that again. The transition is a little better. Still needs more work, but you get the idea. The other thing I might suggest, Jim, is cropping this. The story is in the top half of the picture. The bottom half of the picture doesn't tell us much, doesn't establish much. So I went ahead and fake cropped it by putting a layer mask on it. Now you can choose yourself which one you think better. But I think you can tell the story with less black chest. The last thing I would suggest is make this flag as blurry as the American flag. But you already know that because I'm sure you read my comments. That brings us to Russell. What a creative idea. What a typically childhood Christmas would be. Snow globes and gingerbread man. The idea is perfect for this week. I really like this. There are a couple of things that I would suggest. Get that the way I want it to. That would suggest. I know you said you got all of this from Pixel Squid. And I have to say, sometimes with their selection masks, Pixel Squid isn't as precise as I'd like it to be. And they do have raggedy jaggedy edges that are pixelated. So it makes it difficult for us to pick out that stuff sometimes. I don't know if you've looked in the tutorial section, but Glenn Dewis, not too long ago I shared a post with Glenn Dewis, and he says, well, there's one thing you can do to make that better. And he says, and I've made a mask on this already, so I'm going to turn my mask on so you'll see my fakey backgrounds. And he says what we should do on that mask is go up here and make sure that the mask is selected. Otherwise, you'll think you're crazy. And I'm going to go up to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and pick a real small one or two. I'm going to use one on this one. I think it'll be enough. On a bigger image, I might go two. I say, okay, now, still on the mask, you bring up the layer dialog box, Command or Control L, and you move the black marker towards the white, and you can see you're getting rid of that black edge, or that white edge rather, and you moved it all the way over, but now all that white edge stuff is gone, and you didn't spend very much time fixing it. I would suggest maybe I tried on the background, I don't know if you like it, I have two different backgrounds here. One is a gradient that's, light in the middle, dark outside edges. So there's the gradient background. And the other background you could try is a gradient from top to bottom. Interesting. Apparently, when we took all that in, the selection I made before wasn't good. So don't mind the white lines. It's just because I made it before I fixed it. But anyways, so, those are suggestions. It doesn't mean you have to do them. The other thing that I thought about was when you look through glass, particularly a globe like that or curved glass, the stuff behind it will distort. So I thought, well, I'll see what if I can do to make that distorted. So I copied the gingerbread man, the parts of him that were inside the globe, up to a new layer. And I added a bloat liquify. And I made it just a teeny bit bigger because this globe would act as a magnifying glass. Now, take it as you will. I may have gone a little too far on this one, but you can see it interacting with the glass now. Okay. Then we get to Sherry's. Oh, I turned entirely off. Sherry's, I found yours to, when I looked at it, to be very dark. But then again, even my own was too dark this week. So I don't think it's anything with you, but I think it is It was a bright day, the sun was out, and my poor little dim monitor couldn't handle it. So in order to see better what I was looking at, I went ahead and put a smart camera filter on it, or camera raw filter, and I opened up the shadows and I toned down the highlights. This is beautifully done, and typically Sherry, the old-fashioned, nostalgic, really tug on your heartstrings fairy tale stuff. But I did, whoops, other way around, Marie. I did notice you got the pup in there very nicely. But the way the shadows are, and the fact that it isn't his feet don't interact with the fur at all, it looks a little odd. So what I did was added a new layer, and on that new layer I did some cloning with a rough brush, and it just seemed to help settle that in just a little bit. And I suppose I could, it's not wonderful yet, but I have at least tried. I don't know, didn't bother me up here at all, but down here I really did think it needed a little bit of settling in, interacting with the whole thing. Now you have to look really close to find that, but that's kind of some of the stuff I look at. So thank you, Sherry. It's beautiful. You should do this as a Christmas card. And then we have Helen. And I think this is my favorite this week. I love the snow on the pup, and I love the snow in the background, and on the website you can actually see the animation. I tried several times to bring the animation over here, and it wouldn't work, so apparently you can upload animation to Google but not download it. You did manage to get the jingle bell out again, and I think you've added a mistletoe ball at the top, if I remember correctly. My goodness, Helen, that's 3 of the starting images you've put in all together. Congratulations. Have a happy new year. See you later.